Hi everyone, it's Monday here, and I wanted to talk to you today about some of the educational processes that are going on. I want to make today's video out to Alex over in the UK right now, who's kind of brought this to my attention. So at Annapolis University, I'm one of the teachers trainers, and so we have a process known as the ISW, or Instructional Skills Workshop, which is a 3-day program in which you go through 3 lessons, and this has peer review elements and goal setting elements. So it's in order to basically take someone that has not had much classroom experience or that has classroom experience and improve their skill sets through actual practical work. So I want to talk today especially about what kind of are the expectations of learning during this period and some of the issues that we're going to be having during it. The first issue, and the one that I think is most underrepresented, has to do with the mentality of students during this period. And that is, when we're talking about teaching and learning, what we're really talking about is a process that plays upon emotional aspects. And if people are worried about what's happening on in the world, if they're reading the news, if they're panicked, if they're dealing with this means that they're not in an educational mindset. It's not something where they can devote the brain power that's required in order for the memorization or for the learning to take place. This already is the place that we are starting from. Now, anyone who's an educator has probably had experiences with students who have had some sort of hardship in their lives, or we might have gone through such hardship while we were learning ourselves. It's not very easy to learn when your mind is on other things. This is also an emotional issue, even on the standpoint of the instructors, the TAs, the professors. We're human beings. That means that we also have the same worries. We have the same threats that could happen to our students are happening to us. So I'm worried about what's going on with the current situation. That makes me not as effective of a teacher during this time period. The next issue has to do with contact hours with students. I might have the ability to utilize Skype and email, but nothing is as good as one-on-one in-person instruction. Lectures also begin to suffer from this. While we can do online lectures and online communications, and we can have students ask questions on Zoom or some other technology, nothing is as effective as being in the classroom with the students, looking over their shoulders, understanding what they're doing in labs. I like to use active learning in my classrooms, especially in my one on game theory. So I have students come up to the front and engage in these games. That's something that is not at all easy on online learning technologies. Now, what we've seen around the world is this issue of online teaching being put in place. We see a lot more Zoom meetings and such, and this is mostly in order to try to save the classroom semesters from being completely destroyed by the current shutdown. We also don't have production studios within our own houses. So I'm right now inside of my home office. I live here with my wife. That's the only people inside of this building. If I'm doing a lecture, my wife understands and moves out of the way. But I have colleagues that have kids and dogs and other various creatures running around inside of their houses that they have to deal with if they're at home. Those distractions, when they happen on screen, that's the way life is right now. So, the best advice that I can give to everybody right now who's having to move over to this medium and who's having to study under this medium is give it time. Do not expect that we're going to know exactly what to do right away. We're right now in basically a touch and go everywhere in the world as to how are we going to ensure that this semester moves forward. But I do know from myself and my colleagues that all of us are very, very interested in ensuring that students do not lose this semester and are putting in the hours and work necessary to attempt to keep the educational process going even during this outbreak. So for those of you who have not yet, please be sure to watch my longer extended interview with Daniel Ashlock. And I'm planning as much as possible to have additional lectures with bioinformatics and biologists coming on in order to talk more about the actual situation from perspective of medical experts and biological experts. So as always, stay safe and wash your hands.